Google Slides to show you. One thing that we want to know about weather is that weather depends a lot on wind, and wind is simply just the movement of air. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about that today. So as we go through, it says that we know that weather is basically the happenings in the atmosphere at a certain time. So it's anything that's going to be happening in our atmosphere at any time. We also know that weather is caused by wind. What causes wind? Differences in pressure. Well, what does that mean? So basically it means that wind is produced by the uneven heating of the Earth's surface by the sun. And if you remember way back when we did astronomy, we said that the Earth is tilted, and we said it was 23 degrees. And basically we know that if the Earth is tilted towards the sun, then we're basically in summer, and the part that's tilted away would be in winter. So we don't all get the same amount of sun at the same time. Since the Earth's surface is made of both land and water formations, it absorbs the sun's radiation unevenly. And this means that it does not all heat up in the same way. So when if you think about it, if ever in your life you've been in a high sort of pressure situation, what did you usually want to do? You probably wanted to move and get out of there. And so we can use that same analogy with air. This goes on to say that warm air, which weighs less than cold air, rises. So warm air is always going to rise. Then cool air moves in and replaces the rising warm air. And then the warm air is less dense than the cool air. So warm air is always going to rise and the cold air is always going to sink. And this movement of air is what makes the wind blow. And this is called a convection current. And we did mention convection currents before, if you remember when we talked about the movement of the plates and the whole idea of plate tectonics. And that also was the convection currents, or we called them convection cells that were in the mantle. Or we could look at it this way with this picture. Basically, it says that the wind is going to blow from areas of where to where. It's going to go from high pressure to areas of low pressure. If I can zoom in a little bit more with this picture, you can see that this is a convection cell. And in this particular cell, it's a room, and the air is going to circulate the room. And this could be happening even in your own house. So you have the warm air coming out of the fireplace, and that's going to rise. A lot of you, if you have like a house that has an opening above, that warm air, you know, is going to rise right up to the top, and the second floor is going to be warmer than the first floor. And then you can see that that cold air, as it starts to cool, will then sink. And in this case, it's going to cause sort of this cold draft that you can get from under the floor, and you're going to get the movement of always going from high to low. High pressure area to an area of low pressure. Okay, those other slides we were just going to not do. But we're going to move to this one on a high pressure system. If the air is out in a high pressure system, then the atmospheric pressure of the air is higher than the air around it, and that just means that it's less dense. So the high atmospheric pressure systems are marked by an H on the weather map, and we'll talk about a weather map later on and the symbols that are used. And this basically means that there's going to be clear weather. So the weather's going to be nice. So whenever you see a meteorologist talking about a high pressure system coming through or a capital H you see on a weather map, you know that that weather is going to be clear, nice, good weather. If we go to a low pressure system, that's going to be the opposite. In a low atmospheric pressure system, the atmospheric pressure of the air is lower than the air around it, and so the air is going to be more dense. And that low atmospheric pressure systems that go through are symbolized by a capital L on a weather map. So now you know what an H and an L stands for, and this means that there is stormy, weather coming, there's some sort of type of precipitation. So I like to think of low pressure area, the L for low and the L for lousy. Like it's lousy weather, we feel lousy in it. And the high, the H for high pressure system and the H for happy. When the high pressure systems come through, it's sunny, the weather is good and clear, and we're happy.